Hey, no be only me go see this one. Oh yeah, mona consi.
We have chosen to say the truth. Even if we are going to die, let us die and let tomorrow appreciate what we said.
The end of Northern unity. New ethnic blocs rising against Fulani dominance.
Fulani should live their life. The Tea people should live their life. The Yoruba people should live their life. Hausa people should live their life.
We are a law-making body.
So that there won't be any challenges to it.
It's taken. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you very much.
Now,
when you go to theater of war, you know how to contribute. So they failed in everything. The story you are about to hear from this unfiltered report HQ is not different from the same story we just recently posted about VDM revealing the hidden secrets of Boko Haram, how they came to be, brainwashed the HAUSAs to believe that their goal and their mission is to execute infidel and the Christian. I came across this particular video from Unfiltered Report HQ. I own no copyright to it. And I'm taking this particular video to post on my platform simply because of the details and information in this video. I just want you people to watch this particular video. We'll be right back.
The end of Northern unity. New ethnic blocs rising against Fulani dominance. For 60 years, every serious presidential candidate in Nigeria has made the same calculation. Secure the North and you secure the presidency. It was that simple. The North was one thing, one bloc, one identity, one kingmaker. That calculation is no longer reliable. Something is fracturing across northern Nigeria, not in a party convention, not in a press release, but in the villages of Zamfara and Katsina, where Hausa farming communities have been burying their dead for a decade and asking why nobody in power has been held accountable. In this video, I am going to show you what is breaking, why it is breaking now, and what it means for the 2027 election and for Nigeria's future. If you are new here, subscribe now. Every video on this channel is researched and verified. No speculation presented as fact. If you value that, hit subscribe. Let us get into this. To understand what is collapsing, you first need to understand what was built and how it was built. The term Hausa Fulani does not describe two groups that have always been one. It describes a political alliance forged over 2 centuries of conquest, colonialism, and calculated self-interest. In the early 19th century, the Fulani religious scholar Usman Danfodio led a jihad across Hausa land. He overthrew the Hausa Habe kings, established the Sokoto caliphate in 1804, and placed Fulani emirs in political control of Hausa cities, Kano, Katsina, Zaria, Sokoto. The Hausa provided the population, the language, the farmland, and the culture. The Fulani provided the ruling class. Then the British arrived. The colonial administration, under Lord Lugard's policy of indirect rule, chose to govern northern Nigeria through the existing Sokoto caliphate hierarchy. They formalized Fulani political dominance as the architecture of British colonial administration. Over 100 distinct ethnic nations in the north were subsumed under that single structure. When Nigeria gained independence in 1960, the new political parties inherited those colonial boundaries. The Northern People's Congress, the region's dominant party, was led by Fulani elites, and the Hausa Fulani label became a shorthand for a political arrangement that served those elites far more than it served the Hausa majority. One Nigerian historian described it plainly. For over 100 years, northern Nigeria has been held together by a politically contrived ethnic fusion, expediently branded as Hausa Fulani. It aggregated demographic weight for political relevance. Beneath it, however, a very different reality existed. The Fulani, who are a numerical minority within that compound label, held the emirate seats, the governorships, and the security architecture. That arrangement worked as long as both groups needed each other. When it stopped working, the fracture began. The fracture did not begin with a political speech. It began with bodies. Between 2013 and 2022, armed bandits, predominantly from Fulani-linked militia groups, killed at least 8,300 people across the northwest. Zamfara alone accounted for more than 4,000 of those deaths. In Kaduna, nearly 2,000. In Katsina, over 1,400. Over 200,000 people were displaced from Zamfara alone. By 2024 and 2025, the crisis had not improved, it had worsened. The National Human Rights Commission documented 3,012 kidnappings and 3,584 killings across Nigeria between January 2024 and April 2025. Kidnapping-related fatalities increased from 425 in 2024 to 747 in 2025, with Zamfara, Katsina, and Sokoto recording the highest death tolls. In the first half of 2025 alone, at least 2,266 people were killed by insurgents and armed bandits, a figure that surpassed the total casualty count for all of 2024. The states affected by rural banditry expanded from 9 states in 2024 to 16 by the end of 2025. These are not abstract statistics. These are Hausa farming communities, the same communities that have been voting as part of the Hausa Fulani political bloc since independence, being killed, kidnapped, and displaced while the Fulani-dominated political establishment governing their states either failed to stop it or, according to persistent allegations never yet prosecuted, maintained relationships with some of the armed groups. The Sofan Center documented the pattern in August 2025. The conflict had shifted from criminal banditry to something resembling organized insurgency. Armed groups coordinated attacks across multiple states. Warlords operated with visibility and apparent impunity. On August 19th, gunmen attacked a mosque in Katsina, killing at least 30 worshippers. Earlier that month, bandits abducted 50 people in Zamfara in a single coordinated raid. And through all of it, the same question circulated across Hausa communities, on social media, in village councils, and in open protests. Why have the Fulani political figures who govern these states not been held accountable? Why has the Sokoto caliphate leadership, the religious and political apex of Fulani authority, not been required to answer for the conduct of armed groups operating under the Fulani identity? The growing public answer from Hausa activists and community leaders in Kano, Kaduna, and Zamfara was a phrase being repeated with increasing frequency: "We are not one people." Now add a second layer to this story, because the fracture is not only within the Hausa Fulani bloc, it also runs between that bloc and the 6 states of Nigeria's Middle Belt. Benue, Plateau, Kogi, Nasarawa, Niger, and Kwara states contain some of Nigeria's greatest ethnic diversity. The Tiv, Nupe, Igala, Idoma, and Berom peoples, among dozens of others. These groups are predominantly Christian. They were forcibly merged into the northern political structure during colonialism, against their preferences. The Middle Belt was never culturally or politically Hausa Fulani. It was administratively absorbed. The violence in the Middle Belt has been even more sustained than in the Northwest. In Benue State, as of late 2024, the International Organization for Migration counted over 500,000 registered internally displaced persons, communities unable to return to their land. By March 2026, Benue's governor, Hyacinth Alia, reported that 17 out of 23 local government areas in his state were under siege from armed attacks. A federal lawmaker stated publicly that Fulani herdsmen had taken over 40% of Benue's land, displacing thousands of indigenous peoples. In Plateau State, the pattern was identical. In April 2025, gunmen attacked communities in the Mwagavu chiefdom, killing at least 52 people. Since 2021, the Nigeria Violent Conflicts Database has recorded 1,146 deaths from violence in Plateau State alone. These communities do not vote as part of a northern Muslim presidential coalition. They vote as communities fighting for survival. In 2023, Peter Obi won Plateau State. He performed strongly in Benue and Kogi. The Middle Belt is a bloc, but it is not Tinubu's bloc, and it is not Atiku's bloc. Into this already fragile northern landscape, President Tinubu introduced a new pressure point: his pattern of federal appointments. Since assuming office in May 2023, Tinubu has repeatedly faced documented, sourced accusations of concentrating key appointments within his Yoruba ethnic base. The criticism is specific, not general. Key targets of the accusations include the central bank governor, the NNPC chief executive, the finance minister, and successive inspector generals of police. In February 2026, Tinubu appointed Tunji Disu from the Southwest as Acting Inspector General of Police, drawing fresh protests from northern stakeholders who argued that given the catastrophic insecurity in the Northwest, a northern police chief was not just symbolically important but operationally necessary. Section 14, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution mandates that the composition of government shall reflect Nigeria's federal character. The presidency has argued consistently that merit governs appointments. Critics, including the Arewa Consortium Forum, have argued that such appointments breach both the Constitution and the political understanding that brought Tinubu into power. The Arewa Consortium Forum, northern Nigeria's leading socio-political body, has been unambiguous. It criticized Tinubu's economic policies as insensitive to northern conditions. It stated that public policy responses to insecurity in the north have remained ineffective. And in language that functioned as a political warning, it declared, "The interests of the north will be best served by northerners." The Council on Foreign Relations in an April 2026 analysis framed Tinubu's position. He secured the presidency with critical northern support in 2022 and 2023. If he loses that support, or if northern voters simply split in too many directions, his path to a second term becomes significantly narrower.
Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Is what you are hearing new to you, or have you been watching this coming for years? Hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit like so more Nigerians can see this analysis. Here is where it gets serious. So the North is fracturing along at least 3 lines. HAUSA communities asserting independence from Fulani political control, the Middle Belt refusing to be absorbed into a northern Muslim presidential coalition, and the Arewa establishment warning Tinubu that northern patience is not unlimited. The question is, who benefits from this fragmentation and who has the strategy to convert it into votes? For Tinubu, a divided North is strategically convenient in the short term. His 2023 presidential victory was built precisely on northern votes splitting 3 ways between himself, Atiku Abubakar, and Peter Obi. A northern bloc united behind a single candidate in 2027 would present a far more dangerous challenge than one divided among 3 or 4 platforms. If that fragmentation continues, a consolidated Yoruba base in the southwest plus a minority share of the northern vote could be enough for a second term. Here is the complication that may yet save Tinubu's second term. The opposition cannot organize itself. In November 2025, the most ambitious opposition realignment in more than a decade was announced. Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, former Kaduna Governor Nasir El-Rufai, and Rotimi Amaechi coming together under the African Democratic Congress. It was billed as a coalition powerful enough to unseat a sitting president. By May 5, 2026, it was over. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso had quit the ADC, citing, in Obi's words, endless court cases, internal battles, suspicion and division. Obi and Kwankwaso then moved to the Nigerian Democratic Congress. Atiku remained in the ADC. Amaechi also defected from the APC and joined ADC, but the coalition's coherence was fractured. As of today, the opposition is running at least 2 separate presidential candidacies. Political analysts and northern stakeholders interviewed by Daily Post in May 2026 stated what is now obvious. If Atiku and Obi run separately, northern votes split again, and Tinubu wins a second term without needing to resolve a single one of the northern grievances driving this analysis. For Atiku Abubakar, the picture is different and much more difficult. His political identity for 30 decades has been built on claiming to represent the North. He is Fulani, from Adamawa State in the northeast. If the HAUSA self-assertion movement consolidates into a genuine political force, if HAUSA communities in the northwest begin voting as a distinct bloc rather than as part of a HAUSA-Fulani alliance, then Atiku's claim to northern unity becomes contested territory. For Peter Obi and his running partner, former Kano Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso, the fracture represents the most important opening in Nigerian politics in a generation. As recently as April 2026, the two were reported to be consolidating an alliance under the Nigerian Democratic Congress, pushing a one-term power rotation agenda specifically designed to attract northern leaders away from both Atiku and Tinubu. Kwankwaso holds genuine political weight in Kano, Nigeria's second most populous state. If Obi and Kwankwaso can lock in Kano, add Plateau and the Middle Belt, and carry the southeast, they become mathematically credible. So, here is where we are. The HAUSA Fulani political alliance, the arrangement that has governed Nigerian presidential politics since independence, is under genuine, documented strain. It is driven not by ideology, but by grief. A decade of mass violence against Hausa farming communities that Fulani-led political structures failed to prevent or prosecute. The Middle Belt has never been part of that alliance in any meaningful sense. It has been voting against it since 2023. Tinubu has compounded northern alienation with an appointments record the Arewa Consortium Forum has publicly described as marginalizing the region that put him in power. And yet, the opposition cannot produce a single candidate to channel that discontent, which means the beneficiary of all this fracture, of all this anger, of all this legitimate northern grievance may be the sitting president himself. That is not a coincidence. That is Nigerian politics. The question I want to leave you with is this. If northern communities are ready for a new political alignment, are the opposition figures available to them actually worthy of that alignment? Or is the North simply being handed the same choices in different packaging? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every one of them.
That is all for today. If this video gave you something real to think about, like it, share it, and subscribe.
The reason I'm posting this particular video is to enlighten some people, especially the Northerners, who strongly believe that the people from the southeast, the southwest, the north, whatever, are their enemy. If you are not a Muslim, you are their enemy. I didn't mean generally they are Muslims. Like if you have not watched that previous video we make about when we were talking about the genesis of Boko Haram, how they brainwashed some Muslims to believe that we are going to fight the Christian. Before then, the Christians and other religions, they live together. Before these Fulani people override the country. I'm not also saying that it is all Fulani, but I don't know how we get here in the first place. The country belongs to the north, the HAUSA, the south, the Middle Belt, the west, the Yorubas, the east, the Igbo. Unfortunately, the HAUSA Fulani, they came together to form one alliances as a political force to hold power, but at the end of the day, they were override. It was through religion they were able to marginalize the HAUSA people who are in the north. The HAUSA people who are the good farmers are the ones they are executing daily. They work in the Bureau de Change. They work in every society you are seeing around us. They ride the bikes. They do all kinds of legitimate business to put food on their tables. Those are the people you can also hire for other jobs in your site and anything. These people are hard laborers. But the Fulani, one mission. But I did say, I'm saying most of them that are carrying out this buying and buying is because this country, they don't see it as theirs. Their allegiance is to Saudi Arabia, to Niger, and to others. They don't believe that they are Nigeria. How can somebody in the first place be living in the forest? Does it even make sense that all your life now, you are living your life in the forest? You live there, you do everything there in the forest. You are expecting somebody to come and build school for you in the forest, hospitals in the forest. You don't want to rent house, you don't want to build house, you buy a motorbike, you buy a car, you park it in the forest. Going from one place to another, buying people, you say you don't want a Western education. I don't know what these people want, but I believe that this is not the time you see people using religions to play politics with Nigeria. All Nigerians must come together to ensure that we find solution and go back to the old days where we live together, right to freedom, right to a religion. Everybody, you do whatever you want and live peacefully. I want you guys to watch this particular video. We'll be right back.
We have chosen to say the truth. Even if we are going to die, let us die and let tomorrow appreciate what we said. And so, as far as I'm concerned the federal government is complicit. The day they want this insurgency to finish, it will be done. Actively, they are working with Turkey, they are working with Saudi Arabia, they are working with everything to Islamize. But the real agenda is to take over Nigeria. And all these insurgents that you see happening is from Mauritania, is from Senegal, is from Cameroon, is from all over the place, trying to ensure that the indigenous people of this country do not have a say, but the Fulanis have a say. We are not against Fulani people. In government here in Benue State, I have Fulani people who are in my government. I have no issue about Fulanis, indigenous people. Everybody in this country, Nigeria, comes from somewhere. Even the Tea people, where I govern today as governor, they come from somewhere. But we have settled. Today, because of the rise in population, there is nowhere you can say that the Tea people or Benue people should leave Benue State to go to Cameroon. Where is the land? To go to where? Where is the land? And so this is the main problem that we're having in this country. If this government will appreciate and stop deceit against the people, we shall all work as a team. Nigerians, wherever we come, let us cohabit and live together. But where a particular ethnic group wants to take over the country and make some of us slaves, I can never be a slave to anyone. It is better I die and not be alive. I cannot be a slave to any Fulani man. Fulani should live their life. The Tea people should live their life. The Yoruba people should live their life. Hausa people should live their life. Every other person should live their life.
And you listen to the story in this particular video. But we thank God that some Hausas are beginning to wake up. Now, these people that controls you, they did not just come as a person to make an alliances with you people. They came as a missionary that executes all your leaders, buy all your leaders, and install their own leaders to become your own Eman, your own Sultan. They becomes your leader. It's just like somebody comes to your own house, buy your parents, and adopt you. And years later, he wants you to respect him because he have done something for you. You listen to the story narrated in this video. I don't want to add much. What are your thoughts? If you're a Fulani person, you are watching this video. If you're a Hausa person, you're watching this video. If you're a Muslim, you're watching this video. If you're a Christian, you're watching this video. What are your thoughts regarding to the whole information in this video? Please let us know in the comment section. I love you. God love you more. Until we meet again, stay tuned in this particular video. Until we meet again. Bye.